Hello, everyone. I am Marilyn Sokoloff, the treasurer, soon to be the ex-treasurer. I'd like to present to you the 2021 to 2024 Treasurer's Report, the financial report. There we go. Oop, forget it. Next one. Yes, so just to give you a little background, a little context for the organization of HETI, our legal structure is that we are registered in Belgium as a not-for-profit organization. That's where the registration began, I believe. We have a yearly financial audit that is required by Belgian law. Any changes to our Articles of Association require approval from the King of Belgium, so sometimes that can be a little cumbersome. And in terms of the financial report, all the figures are reported in euros. According to the HETI Articles of Association, the responsibilities of the treasurer are: the treasurer is the financial officer of the organization, and in this capacity shall perform those functions delegated to the treasurer by the president, safeguard the assets of the organization, maintain control over the receipt and disbursement of the organization's funds, oversee the preparation of the annual budget, and compile the treasurer's report. Our financial institutions that we work with, or that work with us actually, our bank is the AIB Bank in Dublin. Since our office is in Ireland, that's where our bank is. And we have two funds. We have our general account, which is really our operating account. And then we have the Mary Selway Swift Fund. And if you don't know what that fund is, I encourage you to either stop at the table or look on the website. This is a fund that was set up to support especially developing organizations, developing country organizations who need training and experience and educational opportunities, and they can apply for a grant. We recently awarded a grant to a very small beginning program in Uganda to go to South African Riding for the Disabled Association for training, and we were very pleased with that. Not very many people are aware of this fund or have participated in it, so again, I encourage you to go to the HETI website and check it out. Our auditing firm is FDC in Cork, Ireland, and they provide for us payroll. They file our monthly revenue taxes. They do our yearly audit, which is sent to the Belgian regulators, to the executive committee for approval, and then on to the federation members. They do our bookkeeping and provide the end-of-year statements, and we are hoping to connect with a service that will also make our monthly statements easily provided, which does not happen currently. Stripe is our payment portal, and our accounting software is Sage 50. So according to the Articles of Association, the treasurer presented to the International Council, it goes through the HETI Executive Committee and then on to the International Council, the audit report from the accounting firm, which is the financial statements 31/12/2023. So that comes at it's for the year of 2023. We usually actually don't get it until almost June of the following year. And the profit and loss budget, and then the treasurer's report, which is what this is. All right, now we get to the numbers. So one of the things you may or may not be aware of, I put up here a comparison from 2021, 2022, and 2023. And the number I'd like you to really look hard at is the income for 2023, 2022, and 2021. With all the work that HETI does, our budget is under €50,000 per year. And so our income, and these are just accounting figures, and so they don't exactly represent where things are or were, but they're very, very close, just in terms of overlap of accounting. So in 2023, this was last year, our income was €42,000, 466. Our expenses were €40,214. 2022, our income was €49,213, and we had to take off from that figure €2,972 as for unpaid membership. And our expenses were €48,623. And then in 2021, our income was $37,302, and our expenses were $39,766. And part of the numbers for 2021 were depressed because COVID was a presence, and a number of centers just were simply unable to pay their membership. The numbers for 2022 in part were also inflated because memberships for the previous year began coming in, and we were, offering some support, at least in terms of paying later for those programs that were suffering because of COVID. All right. And so for 2023, this is the accounting that just came in. Just wanted to show you what our major income sources and our major expenses categories are. And our membership was, in 2023, was €39,007. And from the Erasmus Project, we had an income of $3,118. Most of that also goes out in terms of the expenses for Erasmus. But as you can see, membership is really our source of income. And so I encourage you to not only continue your membership, but to really work at encouraging others in the field out there to join HETI. We feel that we do a lot, and that you all do a lot, and that we just need to keep going here. In terms of our major expenses, our salary of $18,261, you could see from the list that Kirsten laid out about what the executive director actually does in her, quote, part-time salary, and just get an idea of just how important her role is, how much she does, and how much we need to continue not to increase her salary. Our financial institution fees, and this is primarily the accounting firm. The biggest portion of that goes to our accounting firm for our audits, and then there are some fees that we pay to Stripe. And I think our bank fees are really minimal. And then technical support, $2,458. And those of you who have worked with Antti or benefited from Antti's technical support knows also, again, that he does an awful lot for what we consider a really little bit of money. So our budget for 2024, based on the budget on the actuals for 2023, we are projecting a budget of $41,650. Our expenses, we are projecting $44,416. Now, this is a work in progress, clearly, and the new treasurer will be adapting the 2024 budget as the year progresses. And the budgeted expenses for $44,416 also includes expenses that will be reimbursed. So, what did we actually accomplish in our financial operations 2021 to 2024? One of the things we did was, after working for several years trying to get an application with the Irish government as a not-for-profit, discovered that we were not really eligible for that status because we really didn't provide direct service. And so we finally decided to let that application go because there was no point in continuing. We arranged online access to our bank account for our executive director, our president, and our treasurer, and that should have been easy, but if you'd like some good stories about us, see us afterwards. We created a budget for 2023 and 2024 and updated the presentation. That should be to the executive committee, May of 2024. The board just got that. We established staff performance criteria for raise and bonus recommendations. We had a monthly income, expense, and balance summary report to the executive committee that was prepared by our executive director. We had an yearly audit sent to the International Council members per their Belgium requirement. And we created our policy on zero financial responsibilities for the national registers after the pilot projects were completed. So what do we need? We need additional staff. We need additional part-time staff, primarily to help Kirsten, but also we need a second person in the office who knows what's going on. We really need a backup person, but so those are two really big reasons why we need to increase our staff. We will need some new office equipment, computer equipment. We're working on trying to find a financial accounting program that is really easily accessible to us. And we also would like to have travel support for HEDI representation at conferences, meetings, etc. That's one of our strategic plans, one of our missions is to connect, and we really value the time that our representatives go to different meetings, different congresses, different conferences around the world, and HEDI budget just simply can't support that, and so it puts a strain on the individual board members. So my recommendations as the outgoing treasurer is a task force on how to address our income needs, our increased income needs. And we have a new treasurer and a new board, and we have met several times during the week here, and they are on it. We want to increase the visibility of donation possibilities, and I also recommend energizing the Mary Selway Swift Fund in terms of increased income as well as increased applicants for the fund.